nice front and back, leader's garment. Quite happy.
It's alright, isn't it? Looks pretty good in that bad boy.
Excellent, I think the word you're looking for is... Look at that thing. Looks beautiful, done. Beautiful.
Now, only if you're ready for this.
Welcome back to the OTB podcast, New Zealand's original and still the best mountain bike podcast, and apparently the podcast of choice of World Cup downhill mechanics. Shout out to Ben Oakley, B. Edwards, and Jackson Goldstone's mechanic. I don't know what your name is, but apparently he listens too. Look at us go. There was apparently even some power rankings chat gone down with some of those mechanics while they were over there, and Jackson's mechanic was quite stoked with his syndicate ranking. So that was, good to hear on that side. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you jump on and give us a quick rating while you're at it. Don't let us down. 5 stars only, please. Get some more people listening to us, and don't forget to tell your mates to listen too. Simple math says that if all of our 10 listeners tell a friend, we'll have 20 listeners for the next episode. So that'd be great. Anyway, on to the show. Loudenvielle World Cup, just gone. What a race it was. But as always, joining in the co-host seat, James Rennie, the Red Dog. Welcome back, Red Dog.
Great to be here, Kerry. Great to be here.
We've missed you over the last week. Well, I haven't really. I talk to you pretty much every day. But also in our co-host seats, we've got we've missed him for a couple of weeks, but we've got Lester back. It's good to have you here, mate.
Hi, fellas. Great to be here and for another week. Finally managed to get fantastic. Finally managed to clear the schedule, and get back on the pod with the boys.
Yeah, it's tough being a dad. We all know. And Chris Vanderkolk also. He's become our rock. So welcome back, Chris.
I'm glad to be your rock, Karen. It's a pleasure to be back, and it's also it's really nice to learn that we're becoming the podcast of choice for World Cup mechanics. I feel like we're on their level.
Yeah, we're also the only podcast that relies on our children being in bed before we record. So we'll just remember to chalk that one up. Man, it was a pretty good race. I think from the very start, I was pretty excited by what the track looked like. There'd been a lot of rumours that the track was pretty rubbish, but one of the guys I know who was over there had been and scoped out. They were there for the Enduro, and he was like, "This could be the best track in quite some time because it's steep as hell." And maybe it was the best looking track we've had in quite a while. What do you reckon?
It certainly seemed that way.
Feel free to jump in,
Yeah.
Yeah,
It was the best track of the year. Had to be. It looked so good. It made you want to ride downhill.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ride downhill. It scares the shit out of me.
It was, I got to say, it was like the perfect example of how to run a World Cup at a bike park with a bike park track, but just all these sections that skipped in and out of it. They'd use sections of like a well-established trail, and then they'd just jump off it for a bit out into like a grassy field for some flat turns and some other random berms and stuff they built. And it was awesome. It was pretty bloody good.
They seemed like they were working with
all the bottom stuff was fresh, eh?
Yeah, I think all the bottom stuff was fresh.
Once.
Yeah, you could definitely see the top had a lot of sections that were bike parky and then other bits thrown in. So that was pretty cool. Listen, you have your hand up.
I'll go next because I put my hand up. And now I figured out how to mute myself. I got to say, I'm with Red Dog. That, like, watching that track, it just looked so fun to ride. There wasn't anything in there which was, I think, majorly scary, but just the whole thing looked fun. And, there was a bit of technical-ish stuff in there, but the overall vibe, I reckon, it looked playful and fun. That's for sure.
Yeah. Dirt looked good too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dirt looked immaculate, yeah. Especially by finals, for sure.
Even when it was dry, though, it still looked real good. Like, it still looked nice to ride.
Had some moisture in it, eh? Seemed to hold that bit of moisture.
How about the moisture?
Maybe it was getting cold overnight or something.
How about the moisture when the juniors should have been racing? There was some good moistures on track.
big moisture.
That moisture looked nothing compared to a wet one in Dunedin,
Nah, it was I don't know. It was definitely some of the best racing in terms of what we got to see with the elites and everything, but it's pretty disappointing there was no junior racing.
It seems like that whole thing, which, look, when you're watching it from a fucking couch in New Zealand on the other side of the world, it's hard to have a reliable opinion. But it does seem like that whole thing kind of put a black mark against what was probably one of the best World Cup rounds in recent memory. You know,
Absolutely.
there was so much. There were some really pissed off people. Like, if you watched any of the videos and stuff after on that race day, when the juniors were supposed to be racing, people were so fucked off.
Yeah, well, it seemed like it got called really early too. Like, from just the kind of responses I watched from it, it seemed like the race got pulled pretty early on, rather than actually kind of going to everyone and, you know, putting it to the people. They just pulled the pin on it and said racing's off. So it's kind of weird.
So I have a question. This is as an armchair expert. Do you think that the fact that it was wet made it more unsafe? Less safe?
I guess, and this actually comes from friend of the show, Cam Cole.
Who was there?
On course with horse?
There.
Yeah, on course with horse. He reckons that it would have been pretty impossible to actually get anyone off the hill if there'd been like a big incident.
Yeah.
And he was saying maybe was a big part of it, because it's so steep, so slippery. You know, if someone does get properly hurt, it's going to be pretty tricky to get them off. But I guess
Champery, I remember seeing clips of people like the medics and marshals and stuff wearing fucking crampons. Like, if nothing else, they were prepared.
Well, that's probably what it came down to, though, eh? Like, the fact that they couldn't get people off the hill in all weather is still a failing on their part as organisers.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if that is the main driver, that's kind of the right decision, and they kind of just have to fall on their sword and be like, yeah, we got it wrong.
Yeah.
But we still can't say we got it wrong, but we're racing anyway, because otherwise you guys will be all fucked up with us. Because if someone gets hurt, that's not going to be good.
That's got to be it, right? Like, if that's what it was, if that's really what it came down to, then from an event organiser's perspective, you just say that's the reason. We can't run this race because in these conditions we can't safely get people off the hill. Because you've got all this conjecture about whether or not it was any more safe or dangerous. Like, the reason I asked the question is there were some fucking huge crashes when people were going super fast in the dry.
Yeah.
You know, and anything that you saw people crashing in the wet was like they fell off sideways and slid 30 metres down the hill into a netting catch bank. Like, it's
humiliating.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I agree, though, that the full disclosure should be how they run it, you know? Like, I think if you had you know, you think about if you had a crash, like a Brooke McDonald-style crash, and they couldn't get a heli in and people were sliding around, like, an outcome of that kind of incident would be far worse than what it was, you know? And that was bad enough. But,
but that's...
I mean, it was a very similar... His was that scenario, wasn't it, really?
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's the thing. He got, it was a long time before they got him off the hill because of the same kind of situation.
But you know what they do all over the Alps, right? Whether it's winter
and ski racing?
Well, just in winter, but probably... They did this in Champery as well. They chopper people out with a fucking rope.
Yeah, but if
they can't put the chopper in the air, they're fucked.
Yeah, well, there's that too, yeah. Yeah, if there's a lightning storm,
I think there's so many factors. But I mean, there's so many factors, right? But at the end of the day, the bottom line is probably that they couldn't get someone out if they were injured.
Yeah.
But they should just disclose that fact.
But yeah, that's the thing. They should just say that instead of saying racing's cancelled because of the weather. It just makes it... Yeah, it's kind of stupid. But, I mean, this seems like an obvious one, but do you reckon we need more new, fresh venues like this? You know, like the whole EWS style thing was that they're supposed to be going to new places every year and, you know, keep things fresh. And the World Cup has got pretty stale. But like, I think we need some fresh places like this just to create some interest and excitement.
Disagree. Let's keep going to Leogang and Fort William. Let's keep reeling them out. I want to see a
Montsaint,
drone down the motorway. I want to see a blooming zipliney thing down that other motorway in Leogang.
Yeah,
it's basically pointless. Like that's what I want to see, guys.
Well, I have a
it's
similar
a no-brainer.
question.
It's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer
for that one, Kerry. I think we might have talked about it last week or sometime recently about whether or not Fort Bill would be in next year and how much of a travesty that would be if Fort Bill wasn't in. But if you could choose to see Fort Bill again next year or another new track like Loudenvielle,
give me a new track,
right? 100%.
Just need some change. We need some change. Change is as good as a
Fresh
holiday.
blood.
This race was so exciting to see people searching out new lines, different ways it's being ridden. You're not seeing the same shots of the same places. And yeah, it made for a really good race, I reckon.
Interestingly, do you think that had an effect on the overall results? I mean, the cream always rises to the top, but I do wonder if the reason that the Kiwis weren't so well off is because they haven't really had to deal with that fresh venue kind of thing, finding new lines, like really starting from scratch. And those teams who've got, 4 or 5 people trackside videoing and timing have a pretty distinct advantage there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. Like when you look at the specialised gravities and the common sails and that sort of thing, where you're right, like they've got a bunch of people trackside checking lines, timing, things like that. You don't have to even think about it. I mean, the Kiwi thing would be, I can fully imagine those guys are just up there. They're like, this is sick. Let's go punch laps. And this line seems like it works, but not actually just racing lines because they know they're faster. So it could have made a difference there.
Yeah.
Still win 1-2 in the junior women's though.
We did. Sasha and Eris, man, what another...
Yeah, I mean,
it's just domination.
It's domination.
Having said that though, Gary, and Lester, this was definitely a track where it was just mainline with confidence is going to get the win. Because, you looked at that top few riders, how they weren't all running the same line. And it wasn't like it was coming down to one section that they made a small advantage on. Dak had 4 huge mistakes or huge moments that he managed to carry speed on. There were a couple of guys throughout the race who had different lines through that big gap into the corner that just stuffed everyone.
Yeah.
And then Bernie was one of the few people that got the high line in that gnarly shoot. Everyone was doing anything. It just seemed whoever was on it, really.
Yeah, I do wonder though if the fact that you've got those people on the side allows you to have the confidence straight away that you're in the right place, wherever that may be, because they can just say, look, no one else is doing anything else different really, or, yep, that's equal to this, so just hit it as hard as you can. I think, even if it's a mentality and a mental thing rather than anything else. But who knows? There's so many factors. And as I say, the cream always rises to the top. And it's been the same dudes on that top sort of 10 for quite a while. Although there was a couple of dudes.
Remy Tyrion was back in the top 5.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was good.
That
was pretty cool to see Remy up there.
There was another dude who I think was on some random... I think he must be a privateer.
Oh,
Jack
David
Piercy?
Pelizzari.
Pelizzari, yeah.
Oh, Pelizzari.
Yeah.
There was
good.
some pretty Pelizzari qualified first at Leogang. So there was some kind of, and Dylan Levesque, that was a pretty impressive ride for 6 for him. Ethan Craik, another top 10 for him. That was pretty legit to back up his Andorra result.
Yeah,
Ethan Craik is horse.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. He's just the reincarnation of horse. It's because he's got on course with horse guiding him.
It's horse. It's just here he comes. He'll go second at Fort William next.
Yeah,
and then he'll be hunting out podiums.
There was
it'd be great.
Ollie Davis in 9th as well. Young Australians, pretty impressive. And then the younger Anton Perron in 10th. So there was a few in there. And hey, those two getting in the top 10, that made for 4 out of the top 10 being on Santa Cruz V10s. Just FYI.
Interesting.
You know.
The silence says it all, Kerry. No one's biting on you, Blake.
I got to do it. I'm going to throw it in there.
That's an interesting top 20, though, and it kind of, in a way, goes against this theory that 60 riders and 30 in the semi-finals is killing off any chance of privateers ever getting anywhere, or, you know, the lesser-known guys making a name for themselves. Like, you've got a pretty, you know, unorthodox top 10 there.
Yeah, like those guys just had legitimately good runs too. Like, they didn't get lucky. Those conditions didn't change. Like, they just rode solid races. So
also,
it was
like top 20 guys that had crashes or more.
Bernard was a big crash, and he still pulls 13th, and some big ones in there.
So what do you think was? There was a lot of crashes, and at the bottom, what do you think was the cause of those? Because it seemed like maybe it was a tyre thing to me. Like, it was too dry for a full spike, or it was not dry enough for a dry, or...
So I was wondering this as well, because I was looking at a few guys, and you can kind of see it in some sections where you're like, man, they don't look that good, but they're going way faster here, or like, you know, they're people crashing on certain stuff, like, and yeah, I think it was maybe those people who were risking the dry tyres were coming out better off. Maybe they weren't so good. Yeah. I think like the spike guys were the ones who were going down in the berms and things like that because they just had no traction in that hard pack stuff.
Yeah, I need to look up and find out what like Bernie and Danny Hart were on, because they both went down in that left, and that like the way they went down screamed of pushing a spike on a hard pack. Like, it's just nothing. No one's home.
Exactly what I thought.
Claimed, I think, 6 key people across men's and women's. Like, it is gnarly. And it seemed like everyone else that just rode it clean had like a high line through it, and every one of these guys that crashed, it seemed like somehow they got insided. But I don't know, like there must have been something in that corner for them all to crash in pretty much the same way.
I think it was just icy. Like, it just looked like one of those super hard pack berms, and if you just didn't quite get into the right line on it, like, you just pushed. But
looked like you had to turn more in the first half, otherwise you were left turning on the hard, and it wasn't any good.
Yeah, it was definitely inconsistent. The course, like, some bits seemed to really slick up later on. Maybe those hard pack bits were still wet enough, and then other bits were like really hooking. So.
That's what
again, maybe the people who had someone on the sideline to say, look, watch out for this thing. You know, some riders that might get in their head and cause them to slow down the whole way down, or what, I don't know. But
it's interesting because it seems like, you know, the way racing has kind of evolved over the last few years, that a top 30 run, you are fucking pinpoint perfect everywhere, right? And it just seemed like this track and these conditions just threw like a massive cat amongst the pigeons with that. Like, the fact that Dakota had definitely not a pinpoint perfect run, but was a second. There's just so many variables, and there were so many sections in the track that people could kind of have a moment or lay it down or whatever else. Like, it wasn't just this one tricky section somewhere in the track. It was awesome.
Yeah, like Jackson kind of did that. Yeah. Like, he was at one point, he was 2.5 seconds back, and then by the finish, he'd pulled it back to like 1.6 or 1.3 or something along that. I think it was 1.3. So it had kind of like a segment where he'd pushed it way out and then managed to pull back heaps of time again. So it was pretty up and down
Jackson
like that.
Also, I think the only guy that pulled that massive gap, the hip gap.
Yeah, that was that.
I think Remy Therion did as well in his race, but that was huge.
And he got it so perfect too. Like, it's fucked. Yeah.
Did you see some of the crashes of people trying it in practice?
Oh man, detonation!
I said this to Red Dog. I'd sent him this video, and this young guy had tried it, and he crashed and broken his collarbone. And I'm like, maybe learn to fucking focus on racing instead of trying to do some huge gap for clout that like 2 people are doing, and you wouldn't be going home with a broken collarbone. Like, it was good on Jackson. He's gnarly, but he's an anomaly. Like, it's not.
Plus, he weighs 35 kgs now, so like he's basically you can't keep him on the ground.
Yeah,
No,
that's right.
Rumor has it he's putting weights on his bike to keep him down on the ground now because he just floats too much. So
they said Cedric said in the commentary that they reckon it saved half a second by jumping it. And initially I was like, oh, really? But then they showed an aerial shot of a rider a couple after Jackson, can't remember who it was, and he jumped. Oh, it was Kalanjas actually. He jumped and kind of went straight and then turned. And you look at the line that jumping it gave
the momentum
so much
from
space.
jumping it.
Had to be
Yeah.
Yeah, the momentum was huge.
Yeah, so I reckon at least half a second in that alone.
Man, it was good to see Loic win again. I was pretty pumped for him. It was feels like he's had such a rough season, but then he's now in the leader's jersey, so it hasn't been too bad as it turns out. But I was
Pretty
pumped for
crazy
him.
swing.
Yeah, what could have
It
been
was-
with Finn though? Like he was looking pretty solid.
Yeah, so it was interesting because I thought last week had like really just blown the overall to pieces because of kind of like Finn was the only real guy that took decent points out of last week, and then all of a sudden it swings because Finn gets no points in finals. From what I think is a bit of a shitty disqualification. Now I know it's the rules; he went outside the markers, but can we get some sort of discretionary like ruling on these where it's like a time penalty or something? Because he didn't gain time. He didn't do anything intentionally. He went on the pegs on the outside because he'd blown both his feet off. It's not like he cut a corner or anything like that. I'm like, I don't think the hard and fast rule of just a disqualification is that
Tell
fair.
that to HB, man.
I 100% disagree.
Yeah, no, I'm with Red Dog
You
on this one.
cannot leave this stuff. You can't leave it to someone's discretion because it'll make someone angry.
I know,
He's a
but
massive
and
can
as
of
I was
worms.
saying it,
He-
I was thinking to myself, what happens if it happens when only like a marshal sees it or something, and it's not actually caught fully on camera like that? So yeah, I'll
Also,
bite my tongue on that one.
who's this Kieran Bennett we got on the call? Like, when did you get so fucking soft?
I don't like when it just throws, like a title contender out of the, well, not that he's thrown out of the points, but changes them up.
I agree,
mean,
but
the
I'm
reason-
also of the opinion that it's got to be a black or white rule.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to cause too many headaches. But also, it just becomes part of mountain biking. Like, if you want to get a classification, you have to ride the entire course. To me, that's just the bottom line. Like, if you go off the course, you're either disqualified or you've got to go back in where you left it. Like, done.
You're right. You've swung me back around.
Yeah.
I agree. I
You
take
really
it
are
back.
spineless.
2 minute earlier, Kerry could fuck off.
Who is this guy?
Did you see Jack Moyer's footage from the final stage of the EWS or EDR? He blew off the track into what had clearly turned into a pretty main line, but it had blown through the tape. But he stopped, turned himself around, got back on the course, so he didn't go off course, and subsequently lost the overall because of that. Basically, not wanting to break that rule of the fact of, hey, maybe I'll get disqualified for this.
But EDR is dead, so
That's true.
Do we know if
No one
other
would've
people
noticed.
went through that tape and didn't go back up?
Well, you could see lines, so where he pulled up and stopped, you could see that there was heaps of braking marks going straight ahead and into the corner. So there was definitely people had been riding it, but who and how many people had done it, who knows?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, you see that a bit in our lowly races here in New Zealand, right? A bit of tape gets broken and all of a sudden half the field's gone.
It's a highway.
And then if you're the honest guy who doesn't, you totally bollocking yourself straight away.
But
you know?
can you imagine
Yeah.
if the opposite happened though? Like he had his mistake, he blew through the tape, carried on, and say someone caught footage of it or whatever, and it looked like he saved a mistake or maybe found some time, it'd be a fucking outcry. Like, oh, he cut the tape. You know, he found 2 seconds by cutting the tape. Like, it'd be Greg Hubel.
Yeah.
HB
cut the course.
cut the course in 1990.
Plus, also, like, Moya, he wouldn't have been able to pump and dump that footage, right? Like, he would have had to edit that section out. Fuck, what a nightmare for him.
That'd be no
So
good.
really, it was selfish reasons after all.
Oh, it was YouTube.
Also, I've got a topic just quickly going off piste. I've got a get me started topic for pretty much anyone here.
Don't get me started.
We'll bring that up shortly. That's it.
Yeah,
I've also got a topic,
we've got some.
and it's around,
got some. Don't get me started.
changing the name of that section.
Seeing we're talking EDR real quick. Has Eddie gone and broken himself again?
He's hurt something, but I'm not sure exactly what.
Yeah,
he seems to be injured
on the gram, and then this seems to happen when he gets injured. He just goes silent on the socials. So I reckon.
But then he just pumps out his Ed Bull Media edits from the racing. So that's all right. That's what the people want.
Well, yeah, I guess
I do.
We at least are the winners if he's injured.
Vanderkolk, your guy Dak Norton with the second place.
My guy.
You kind of called it in the group chat just before the race. It was, I think you said something along the lines of you'd like to see him do well, but yeah, that was a good ride for him.
Yeah, he's been due a good result. And I tell you what was really interesting was listening to Aaron Gwynn's commentary while he was on course. That was super insightful, eh? Like, more Aaron Gwynn, please. I'm a Gwynn guy now.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
He made Cedric better because Cedric had someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Like, it was... Like, I don't know if this is a failing. Cedric's probably not good enough at what he's doing, and maybe Rick's not good enough at throwing the right stuff to Cedric. But with Aaron there, and people are like, oh, he got talked over. Who cares? Like, they got to keep the ball moving along. But, like, they were good.
But even, like, there was dudes that Aaron was talking about, and I'm like, you know, he's Gwyn. Like, he's a legend, and he knows everyone, and he knows.
I couldn't believe it.
He knows shit about everyone. Like, he could have been sitting there going, "Oh yeah, I don't know anything about this guy." He's like, "Oh yeah, I was talking to him in the pits, and I, saw him doing this, and man, this guy rips this during practice." And I'm like, man, he sees everything that's going on. Like, he actually pays a lot of attention, which is good.
About how in Andorra he was sitting on the track just timing sections. Like, can you imagine him just sitting there with his clipboard and his fucking timing clock, just.
Yeah,
just fan of the sport.
I think I'm going to what you were saying, Gary, about him just knowing everyone. I think the flip side to that would be put Amory Pierron in his shoes, because they had him on camera for a minute there, and he just wouldn't have the same information. He's just obviously wouldn't be vibing with everyone like Gwyn is. Yeah, I think that was a real good addition.
Yeah, more of him.
I thought, because he was in the booth for the semi-finals, and so was Miriam for the women.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, they'll go back to just the two of them for finals, But Miriam wasn't in there for the women's, but they kept Gwyn in there for the men's.
Yeah.
Which is so rad.
I was pleasantly surprised to see him pop back up in there.
You know what else? There's something to be said for like an American commentator's voice, and Gwyn's got like the perfect American commentator's voice. He's lining up a career after racing, eh? I'm here for it.
Sounds a bit like Ricky Carmichael.
There was a Kevin Windham reference that came up again.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Like, yes.
In what context?
I think it was in reference to Dakota Norton or something about being smooth or something. And I'm like, come on, like, why are we bringing up Windham references again?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, Luca, it was too.
Oh, was it?
It was like the things that this guy can do on a bike.
It is funny though.
I'm an MX guy, and it just I said it before. He reminds me of Kevin Windham.
Fuck.
Basically, it's interesting though. Like there was times when he was talking, and I'm watching it, and it changed the vibe of the whole thing for me. Hearing the American kind of commentator voice, it was almost like watching motocross. Quite different.
I agree.
Yeah, more of him.
Get him back. Someone injure him. Someone injure him.
Do like a Tonya Harding and take his knee out, like someone just pop out. Not to win the title, but just so we get him back in the booth more.
Yeah, get him back in the booth. He was fantastic.
Someone do a Tonya Harding.
Now, Chris, I know you and Red Dog hate Laurie Greenland, but that was a good ride for third place. So I was pretty stoked with that.
Whoa. I mean, hates.
Chris, do you want to kick this one off? Kick this one off.
Look, firstly, we don't hate Laurie Greenland. We just love Jackson.
You should talk a lot of shit about him.
We just know the power rankings intimately. We know where he stands. Shit. Amazing result. But,
look,
was it a win?
Fuck,
That's
guys,
what I'm saying.
You guys, man, I don't know what you're expecting here.
We're expecting gold.
Hang on a second. Let me run a list for you here. Steve Pete, Minar, Ratty, Vergier, Jackson Goldstone. They've all won for the syndicate.
It's coming.
There's not many who haven't. Rennie didn't.
You left Nina Hoffman out.
Nina Hoffman was the other one. Sorry, I knew there was another one.
It'll come. We'll get
Rennie
to it
didn't.
time.
Who else didn't? Lucas Shaw didn't.
Cam Zink. Do you remember him being on Syndicate?
Yeah,
what about Kurt?
Was he just
what about
a free ride branch?
Kurt Voorhees?
Kurt Voorhees is a legend.
Remember?
Look, what I'm saying is that Jackson Goldstone lost 2 internal organs in the last few weeks. Imagine that clout. He's rocking up to the pits going, "Hey, look, I don't have a spleen or an appendix anymore." But
can you believe that kid though? Like literally, legitimately, he's been off having internal organs removed, and he comes back to a podium. That was nuts.
Losing 35 kgs.
I heard it was 50.
We talked about Remy Therion briefly. Man, that was good. That's his best ride in him since he won Andorra. That was a good result.
Sneaky good. Good for Giant too.
I was just thinking that. I was like, that's the first result they have had since Rob Warner was on there. Well, Danny Hart won world champs.
Danny Hart won world champs, and Nathan goes.
They won the Enduro as well.
Listen to it.
Plus, the ultimate compliment, the Leat team copied their kit from 2011, so that's pretty nice.
That was the best when they're dropping this new half white, half blue kit. I'm like, 2012 Fox called and they want their kit back.
It doesn't look good. Those
must feel good.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of helmets, you made a comment on last week's pod, which I was absent from, boys, about the Fox helmets and the painting on the Syndicate ones, making them look terrible.
How huge
this
they
week
look.
just summed that up, really. But you compare the same helmet in those colours from the Syndicate versus the helmets that the guys on the Union have with a dark front. It may as well be a different helmet. I can't believe the difference. Yeah, it's insane.
And this is why Moki is designing the OTB official team kit. Because he knows.
Let's just
not us.
Let's just cross our fingers that it's here when we need it.
We might have it for the national. We'll have it for the national series.
True.
Right.
No, it should be here.
Give them when it's time.
Should be here.
Man, there was a brief comment earlier about the crashes. Did anyone else think that Thibaut Deprella might be dead?
Oh, I thought
he was dead. Thibaut Umbrella's dead. Yeah.
I think his bike.
They're going to have to bury him there.
I think his bike might have ended up in Switzerland.
That was the best part of it. Did you watch the guys trying to drag it out of the bush?
It's gone.
Unreal.
I did enjoy him standing up and being so lost as to where his bike's gone, literally shrugging his shoulders, where is my bike?
Do you reckon he rung his bell? Because he went head first into the ground at a great rate of knots.
That was so fast, and he just blew a hand and went head first. He had to have hit hard.
Yeah, you'd think so, eh?
That was big, and then heartbreak for OTB favourite Benoit from Accounts.
He was on one too.
Devastating.
Qualifies first in semi-finals. I thought it was our time, but not to be.
That corner caught 3 people out across the course of the race as well.
Yeah.
Well,
it was slippery. That whole
that
section through there. Yeah.
Yeah. It had, apparently, Gwen was saying on the broadcast, thanks Gwen for this insight, it had funny little rocks in it. So right where they were trying to brake and turn and stuff, and so that's why they were all a bit loose.
coming in above that looked so slippery as well when they were kind of dropping in. And did you guys see
Vidal?
Anton Vidal? He hits the tree, blows the pad off it, and then basically does a foot plant off the tree stump and keeps going. It was awesome.
It just like blows away. It was great.
It was so impressive. Oh man! But one little note: there hasn't been a repeat winner this year. Who do you reckon we're going to get?
Well,
surely we'll
Lowick's
get
just
one
away
by
from
this
now.
point.
Like no one's fucking kid.
You reckon he's off?
away with it. Yeah.
So we've got Leger, we've got Snowshoe, and we've got Mont Saint Anne. So still 3 rounds left in the series, and I reckon Leger's got to be a French winner. So probably going to be Loic.
I'm going to say Greenstone. Jason Greenstone wins that.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I reckon he did incredibly well to get the result that he did. He must be so tired. Like, that dude will be so fucking fatigued.
Nah, he's young, man. They don't get tired.
Yeah. He's not in his mid-30s.
He hasn't put 2 kids to bed.
Doesn't need naps on the weekend.
It's tough.
I bet Laurie takes a nap
old.
on the weekend.
You reckon?
He does, eh?
Christ.
I reckon Manar falls asleep in his chair.
That's in his contract that he has to have the rocking chair in the pits.
Yeah. Are we happy with that 12th, Kerry? We happy with that 12th?
He still looked good. He didn't look as good as Andorra. But I think we've got a bit past the stiff and uncomfortable Manar.
Yeah.
Which is
taking
good.
him longer to
Yeah,
get
it does take a while for the joints to loosen up, when you're close to 70.
Yeah. No,
Poor guy.
He needs to take some cod fish oil level.
he does, yeah. Yeah.
Leicester's fish oil, man. That's the one.
Leicester's fish oil.
Haven't you heard those radio ads?
Can you get Leicester?
No, but is this your side hustle?
Is this exclusively available at your pharmacy?
Some supplement called... what's it called? Leicester's oil.
Oh, man.
Oh,
that's
good. Listeners, if you need some
while
Leicester's
we're,
fish oil, hit up Instagram.
While we're endorsing Leicester's fish oil, I definitely forgot to mention off the top our good friends at Troy Lee Designs and their discount code that we have on troyleedesigns.co.nz. If you jump on there and use the code OTB podcast at checkout, you can save yourself 15%, get that GST knocked off there, basically, and save yourself some coin. And also our other good friends at Smith and their giveaway of the Smith Rhythm goggles last weekend. We got those out. Rob Moore, the winner, has been in contact, so hopefully we'll get those out to Rob soon. And he can.
Is he paying for postage?
He's in Christchurch, which is local, so maybe he'll just get them hand. He might get them hand delivered to him. I'm not sure.
Lucky lad.
Yeah, we'll see.
Kerry, have you got an eyewear of choice this week?
I haven't. Have you got something on your mind there, Chris?
I didn't prepare anything, but I've been wearing them. I know my kit, right? So I've been wearing the Momentum lately. A performance design that sort of blends your sort of modern with your retro. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, fantastic.
I got a TLD piece of kit of the week, actually. Brought some new gloves from our friends at TLD. The new TLD Air glove. That's my new favourite.
Oh,
was that the one I bought, Kerry?
Yeah, and still the best glove out there. The Troy Lee Designs Air glove.
Yeah,
especially in white.
Yeah, I got the white palms. Couldn't go the full white.
That's legit.
Oh, did you?
Lester,
Did you?
How long ago?
Navy back.
How long ago did you get your first pair of Troy Lee gloves?
Oh man, we're digging into the archives.
It would have been a long time ago, but I reckon that I've potentially still got them.
Yes.
They
have the Troy Lee logo.
They were the original Airs.
Yo.
Yeah.
They were red. I did have them up until not too long ago.
Tight.
I think I might have got rid of them. And I had a bit
Every
of a
now and
fling
then
out
I
recently.
find every now and then I find some old Troy Lee kit floating around from like the mid 2000s, and I like sending it to Nick at Troy Lee in New Zealand because he just loves it. Like I found a kidney belt recently, so fired him through a picture of a Troy Lee kidney belt. I mean, I don't think those even exist anymore. Yeah, some good stuff. I found some old air gloves, blue ones from 2005. So got a few bits kicking around. I actually hung up my two D2s that I had. One was 05 and one was about 07. Hung them up in the rafters of the garage this afternoon.
Was one the GT Bike Fix one?
Yes, the blue one.
What
And I also have a red. Also have that red one from a couple of years later.
Yeah.
You know what?
And I did have a Petey signature one. That's the only D2 I've ever sold was a Petey signature one.
Oh yeah.
You know what was
Yeah.
a KB look that I remember and I'm a fan of, and I think probably maybe peak KB was the was the red Troy Lee helmet with the pink Utopia goggles. Like
the pink
not many
Utopia.
people could pull off red and pink, but Kerry
Era
could,
appropriate. That.
I don't think I could
No,
pull
you
them off
did,
either,
you
but
did.
I went for it. Oh man!
Now that we've pumped Troy Lee up, can I just say one thing about Troy Lee, and then we're just going to leave it?
Okay.
Okay, the stuff that the Canyon team is wearing.
Nah.
Luca with the sleeve, it's a little bit too military appreciation for my liking. And B, I think it's to blame for Troy Brosnan not doing very well.
Yeah.
Because he always looks tight.
Yeah.
He always looks tight in his kits. They look sharp, and I
I
think
was
he's
going to
touch on.
say,
Yeah,
We won't say anymore.
there's
Won't say
something.
anymore.
I did like the Dorval kits though. I do like that purple that they're running,
See,
and
that's
we'll leave it
why
there.
that makes it worse because they look so good.
There was
You know?
there was something about a like because Luca's from the south, right? And there was something about a guy from the south wearing camo kit with a fucking big US flag sleeve.
Yeah.
I was like, where's your pickup, boy?
Yeah, it's one of the best pro shops, isn't it? You know?
So true. So
All right.
on speaking of tight kits, Bruni's shirt was so tight, basically
Oh.
like a shirt. So can we get rid of the baggy rule already and just go to whatever the people want to wear?
Yes.
If it's
Did you see the
video?
videos? Did you see the video of his trainer helping him get that top on?
No.
There's like I don't know where I saw it, but I just saw a little clip of him getting kitted up, and his trainer's like behind him, basically pulling the shirt down, pulling it out and down over because he runs a chest protector and elbow guards and stuff, which makes it double tight, and he's pulling it out to get it down over top of it. Like it was fucking tight.
Yeah, like that
Go
rule's
back
got
to
to
full
go. I reckon.
lycra. Yeah.
Let's
Go
just
back.
keep the visors on, but let's go to skin suits.
Yeah. It's just
Get them. Let's just get it out there.
If it's going to full pro, like it seems that we're going, just go the whole hog. Why do you have a rule
Go all in.
that stops you from being all in? Yeah.
Well, it was like the whole thing was they banned skin suits because it was tight and it didn't make the sport look good, and it's like we're not far off it again now. Like
Yeah,
the kits are
exactly.
so tight.
Yeah. I've got more faith that they'd be able to design cool skin suits now.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
But nothing will ever top the muscle suit that Cedric ran in about
talked about
2002. That thing was awesome. It was good.
Yeah, it was pretty cool too.
Moving on to a side topic. Blinky raced the EDRE, the electric mountain bike EWS. I don't know what the fuck you call it now.
EDR.
EDR. There we go. Got himself a fifth, which I was pretty impressed with because those guys racing that, it's like a whole different sport. Like it
really is.
It's nuts what those guys are doing. So well done to him. He took the weekend off downhill and raced that instead. So that was interesting.
Man, looking at that downhill track though, he must have been.
Oh, I know.
Kicking himself, I bet. Why did I choose this one to
Shit.
miss?
So cool, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He, for a minute there, I
But
thought maybe
very
he was going to
impressive
do
'cause
the
that's
double.
hard.
Because he
Yeah,
probably
it might have been.
he would have been close to being able to
Probably
do it.
could have. Yeah. All right. I've got to get a don't get me started. I've got to get.
Not talking about the women's, or is that are we just glossing over that?
Well, I was going to get back to that because my
Okay.
don't get me started is about the women's.
Oh, here we go.
Get him started.
Here we go.
Don't get him
He's a-
started.
He's in dangerous territory.
We're
Don't
going to
get
get
me
cancelled.
started on people racing with a fucking cell phone in their pocket. Gracie Hemstreet clearly had a giant phone in her pocket. You could see the outline of it during her whole run. You're at a fucking World Cup in the final and you have your phone in your pocket. Come on. Like,
She would have had a mechanic
give it to your
too.
mechanic.
Like, just hand it off.
can you not give it to your mechanic? Can you not leave it in the pits? Do you really need it that desperately at the top of the hill?
They'll be running music off it though.
Can we?
Yeah, we'll
with
give
the
it
big
to you.
headphones and shit.
Can I just be devil's advocate here? Maybe she forgot to take it out of her pocket. For the
Nah,
run.
because
Let's go back to all the other World Cups and see if she's got it in as well.
I'm not going that
Maybe
deep
she
on
had
it.
a chocolate bar in there.
No, it was definitely a phone. Unless
Or a
it was a,
calculator.
it could have been a calculator. Maybe it was a calculator and she was calculating moisture in the dirt. I'm not sure.
Bonus.
But I definitely saw someone else with a phone and clearly with a phone in their pocket too. And Caleb Smith would back me on this rant. He would not be happy about
he
it.
loses his mind, eh?
Yeah. Nah, Kayla will be there. So that was my
I
segue
agree.
into the women's field because that was that was my key takeaway. It was when I started watching it, obviously Gracie was first one down and that was all I could see was this giant phone. Yeah. So Valley Hull is on a roll. I didn't even mean for that to rhyme, but far out. She's killing
just
it.
on a different level. She's just operating a different program.
I mean,
which is amazing.
We're not overly surprised. It's a bit like, I mean, there's been a few of them come through, like Rachel's done similar things, and obviously Aunt Cara was super dominant. It seems to be that they just elevate to this level, and like she's off. Like I think good luck to everyone else catching her at this point.
Definitely not this year.
I'd have to agree there.
I've got to say, Tani's looking better and better every race, and I thought
Yes.
that she was actually
unfortunate crash this week,
Yeah.
but
I think that maybe it might take till next season to get the speed there, but I think that she, if anybody, I've got more faith in her than anyone else.
Yeah.
Challenging.
Yeah, like, although Nina, like, to be fair, Nina was 6 seconds back from Valley in semi-finals, and then it was down to like 2.5 maybe in finals. So it did, like, she definitely brought back a fair bit in terms of 2.8 back in finals. So she came back, but I mean,
until she can sort out some style, she's not even on my radar.
So I was about to say, like, Nina can go really fast, but she doesn't look anywhere near as comfortable as what Valley does on a bike.
She needs to do some
Valley just
mobility
looks
work.
so natural.
She's way too stiff.
Very stiff.
I thought she looked better this week, to be honest.
I agree. She did look better, but that doesn't say a lot.
I have been
Still goes insanely
surprised
fast.
that kind of Marine's kind of been the third best, and I've been kind of surprised with that. Like I thought she would be closer in there. Like she's obviously still kind of there, but I thought she would be better.
I thought that was there or thereabouts for her actually, because she's sort of on her way back still.
Yeah. So it's definitely definitely missing.
Shall we agree that everyone below Valley, those next kind of 3 or 4, really could finish in any order?
Yeah, you kind of throw a blanket over them and you see what comes out.
Tani Seagrave, do you think she could challenge it? Do you think she could challenge for the win?
I think she'll be able to.
Don't.
The problem is, right, that Valley's just going to get stronger, and even if Tani gets stronger at the same rate, she's still going to be a peg up. But I've got more faith in Tani than anyone else. Put it that way.
Don't rule out Cammy though.
Oh well, who knows when she's going to be
obviously
back,
injured. Obviously injured at the moment, but I don't see Tani doing anything this season. Like I think Valley's pretty much just sailing off in the sunset at this point.
Yeah.
No,
I agree.
And I mean, I keep forgetting too, and I mean clearly we've forgotten how good Jess Blewett was before she injured herself at that stupid event Red Bull Hardline. So she I would have thought I reckon like she would have been right there in that podium, pretty consistent podium mix at this point of the season.
She certainly was like
Yeah.
on the come up on the build, and then
Yeah.
what a silly.
So,
I mean, I get why she wanted to go and do it, but also at the same time, like, are you a free rider or are you a World Cup racer?
I don't get why anyone wanted to go do it.
don't get me started
at
on that race.
time of the year. Like,
I reckon
Ridiculous.
that this year a lot of people turned up not necessarily knowing what it was going to be. Like, because surely if you're an experienced World Cup racer, knowing what it was going to turn out to be, which was kind of just a social media event for a bunch of free ride social media guys, clout. Like, you wouldn't go to race.
No.
It's done. Hardline's done.
This year you wouldn't because of the situation.
No,
but I
it's
think that normally you would. Wouldn't you?
it's not. It's not done. Rumor
it's not.
there's a hard line in Medina next year.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's going global.
Oh.
So cool. You sounded pretty enthusiastic. Are you? Would you rather hardline in Medina or Masters World Champs in Cairns?
As in to a 10?
no brainer.
Would you rather hardline in Medina or Red Bull ride in Jindabyne?
Oh, I'd take the Jindabyne because I want to see
Right, for
Sam
sure.
Hill. I want to see Sam Hill winning that thing, doing no footers, and also the weird seesaw thing they had, but it was a slide at the same time.
Slidey.
You had to go onto
the
it and
slidey thing.
brake.
Is
and
there
slide
footage
it.
of that anywhere? Because I just have memories of that being way sketchier
There-
than anything I've ever seen.
There is on YouTube. There's some
Yeah.
footage
that's
on it
on YouTube. Yeah, I remember
somewhere around.
Was Hill operating like a no footer or something?
Yeah,
was,
he did like 3 no footers in a row over the doubles at the end.
tidy.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Hey,
Would
I've
you?
got a hot take about the weekend in relation to the juniors being cancelled. And full disclaimer, this is a massive armchair expert hot take. But I don't think there should be Junior World Cup being raced on the same track on the same weekend. I reckon they should open juniors to race elites, and elites is whoever's fast enough to be in it. Because there were junior guys who probably would have qualified, who definitely would have qualified for semis, probably would have qualified for finals, who just flat out didn't get to race.
Yeah. There's dudes, I mean, you kind of see it every year.
Yep.
I mean, in recent terms anyway, the likes of Jackson and Jordan up until this year, they were legitimately as fast as like top 10 elites. And I mean, Pinky is probably right up there in the top 20 sort of thing as well, and Bodie Kuhn. And it's kind of always been that way, that there's the top couple of juniors are
2 to 3 generally.
are legit fast. And I agree, like, we all know who they are. They should be racing with the elites. Yeah, and this comes back to that feeder series thing that we talked about last week. Like, there should be some sort of road get here, and the guys who are legit fast should just be racing in the main field.
Yeah. But you got to cut them off first. Like, you got to cut them down, otherwise they'll never go to a feeder.
Nah, and it's opened up so
They can
much.
still get the pass through.
I mean, when the Junior World Cup was still part of elites, and they had little asterisks to show they were juniors, like, there probably wouldn't be more than 10 guys who are juniors racing there, at a World Cup.
Right.
And now there's this massive field of juniors, and I mean, some of them shouldn't be there. I'll be harsh, they shouldn't be there. Like, there's a good number of them that need some other way to get experience and step up rather than just turning up to a World Cup.
Yeah. I'd agree with that.
No.
It sounds harsh, but it's kind of like the reality, right? And I don't think development's going to
this is
slow down because they don't get their own little class.
Nah, and this is our top tier of racing, right? This is the World Cup. It doesn't get any higher level than this.
That's my point.
Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
Oh no.
Either anyone got a don't get me started? Anyone got something else they want to bring up?
I had one. I forgot what it was.
Juniors racing World Cups.
I would like to just point out we really missed a trick with this, Kerry. It should be What's grinding our gears? You know, a little
Yeah, it's
bike
good.
reference there. You know?
Well,
yeah.
it can
What's
be.
grinding? You know,
This is a fluid podcast. We can change as we go.
it is fluid. That's for sure. I have maybe two. First one, probably like yourself, Kerry, Chris, maybe Murky. I read the Vital forums,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm really sick of people getting so wound up about semi-finals and how it's just killing things and let's just go back to 60 guys and like give it a rest. And it hasn't done anything. If anything, I get to see like Bruni race 2 runs on the TV, and that's really cool because I get to see him twice as much.
We also
And just because your guy doesn't make the final, like they're probably going to get 45th anyway.
exactly.
And I think it's created a tighter points chase because the furthest you can go back is 30 essentially.
Yeah.
You don't get these mass swings. I mean, you did sort of get one this weekend, but everyone's sort of tighter at the top.
I mean, we only really got the mass swing last week at Andorra because they ran it from semi-final points and it was a bit of a fuck up. Or not fun. They ran it as a semi-final essentially, but with only finals points. So
My only beef with it
I don't know. I don't
is
think
that it can make the sport harder to follow for punters. One, because of how much time investment you've got.
Oh, yeah.
But also, like, the cool thing, and I know we don't want to always compare to other sports, but...
Say ski racing.
Ski racing.
I don't know much about ski racing, to be fair, or anything. But I do like going to the snow. I like sledding.
Nobody does.
Is that kind of similar?
Close.
Pretty
similar.
same,
Yeah.
I mean, Formula One, for example, you have a race, people just know, like, who gets pole position, kind of what that means. There's a qualifying, it's super clear. There's points out of that, and then you go into a final race, boom, done. Like, do we have to complicate it further? It's the same with moto, right? Like, you have...
Yeah, I don't know.
So Supercross is very similar.
No sports are that easy to follow unless you follow them. Like, to be fair, they're all kind of confusing. Like, even I was a late to F1 fan by watching Drive to Survive, and when I actually started watching live races, I was like, the fuck is all these qualifying been? Why is some people not racing qualifying now? And it took me a bit to work it out. They're all kind of a bit confusing.
And surely you just want to make
And the thing is, no one's stumbling onto GCN Plus and going, what's this downhill racing? You know, we don't get casual fans anymore because we're on a niche app that only people watching on that app that they'll pay for.
Isn't that different in the US and stuff, though, when you've got the Eurosport and
YouTubes?
And over in Europe with Eurosport?
Oh, I guess they have Eurosport.
I think the whole thing was that it's actually a broader market now.
They have the semi-finals on YouTube and stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I'm a little bit of the opinion of, like, what was actually wrong with it the way it was? Like, do we really need to change?
I think they could have... I think the only thing I would say if you went that way would be just... If you wanted to cut down on the races, make it a 60-person final, but just only show the top 30 or something. Which was pretty much what they were doing anyway.
That's what they did anyway.
But I'm with Red Dog. I like being able to watch more racing. I'm down with watching
Plus,
a
it's
semi-final.
on at a decent time in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's great.
The semi you can watch in it starts at 8:30. It's pretty good.
You can watch that and then go to bed and then watch the finals the next
Presumably
day.
the rationale for semis, like adding semis, was more coverage, though, right? Like that's the commercial reason for doing it.
Yeah,
I think so.
Like, it doesn't actually change the racing that much. No one was sitting there going, I don't feel like we're getting a clear idea of who the winner was this weekend. Like it means that, I mean, you look at all of us, we sat there watching, I don't know about you guys, but I sat there watching the entire semis and then watched most of the finals the following day. Like, I saw double the number of ads on the side of the track. I saw double the number of fucking riders with logos on their shirts, etc., etc., etc. Like, it's an airtime thing. I mean, that's why
what we've got to do to, like, commercialise better, then I guess that's kind of fair. I just don't have time to watch it all. That's my main beef.
Yeah, But
Yeah, I
Lester,
mean,
you're
if
old.
I don't watch semi, you got an early bedtime. If
He falls asleep.
I don't watch semi-finals live, I won't watch semi-finals.
No.
Like
Nah.
if I don't happen to catch it live, then I'm not going back to watch it. Like I'm only going to
Yeah,
watch.
but we're at the bottom of the
finals,
world.
so-
Like, can you imagine how many fucking weird Austrians there are sitting in their houses or in their pubs watching this shit on a Sunday afternoon? Like, Europe is a lot bigger than New Zealand. There's a lot more people watching.
True.
Yeah, we're a niche market.
Yeah.
I've got another side topic that I think we can actually designate ourselves as influencers now, but not in the way of influencing people on buying new stuff, but in the way of influencing people on buying retro downhill bikes. So this is great. I got a DM on the OTB Instagram from Rich Gardner. Hey fellas, UK listener here, love the podcast. I only discovered it back in April. First episode I listened to was the 26-inch fantasy draft, and I found it on the train home from working in London after a few beers. I think it was KB's pick, might have been one of the others, but I can't remember. But it inspired me, and I found an Iron Horse Sunday on eBay while I was still on the train and bought it. Seemed like a great idea at the time. Only now I'm finally putting it all together and should have it finished next week. I was like, this is fantastic. Dude discovers the podcast and buys a Sunday all in the same night. It's fantastic.
It was steam.
We need some residuals from Iron Horse for this. Although, did they go bankrupt? So maybe we won't get anything.
I think they went tits up. I like that. That's the influencing we're doing. Like if he has a wife or partner or whatever, like an old downhill bike turning up on the doorstep in like central London, it's probably gonna be like, what is this? Like, and really considering the relationship. So it's good to know that we're probably creating issues for people.
Yeah, he's going to send us some pictures once it's all done. So we'll put that up on Instagram because that's a win for the OTB podcast and whoever sold him that Iron Horse. It looks good. He's gone for an 07 hill. He's gone for an 07 hill type colorway, black and monster green. So it looks pretty sick so far.
Pretty cool. If he's in New Zealand over summer, 26-inch national championships, come on down.
Get him over here, you reckon?
We'll be back. Actually, I forgot. Luke sent me. Did he send it to you or did he send it to me, Kerry? The trophy.
Send me a
with
picture.
The name engraved.
He's got the Red Dog with the 0G1 engraved on the trophy. So Red Dog, the inaugural winner of the race that we made up for you guys to race.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you, Luke. Sorry, I don't know if I ever got back to you, but that is absolutely amazing. It's the only trophy of significance I'll ever win, except for the BC title, of course, guys. I'll remind you that every show.
Yeah, and that 6th place at Kaki. You may not have got a trophy for it, but it lives on in my heart.
I'm just waiting for Kerry to turn up and really put some competition into the field. It'll never happen.
Nah, he's out of touch. He's out of touch with the core. Yeah, he's not core anymore to 26.
He's not core, eh?
Yeah, we'll see.
Kieran.
I got to race XC. I got to race XC again next year though, so we'll see what happens. I mean, after my dismal downhill performance at National Champs this year, post racing XC, maybe I should just take a slightly easier route and get smoked racing a 26-inch bike instead.
I think you'd
Hey,
be
nothing
the
easy
people's
about
champion if you entered Race the XC, were a starter in Pro DH, practice on the Santa Cruz, and then just switched out for the Iron Horse for your race run.
Do you think maybe I can do a double class entry and I can race like Masters on the Sunday?
I think you can.
And then Elite. Do you reckon we can get? I'll enter under an alias in Masters, and I'll do a race run on the Sunday under Kerry Burgess.
Yes.
And then
That is
Ryan,
a great
Ryan
idea.
from Mountain Bike New Zealand. Ryan, if you're listening, just don't pay attention.
That's exactly what's happening. Kerry Burgess. Hey, you know what's going to happen? Even if you don't do it, I'm entering you as Kerry Burgess.
I'll punch out a run, no practice, just go straight up and do one run on the Sunday and Masters as Kerry Burgess, and then I'll race Elite
you got
downhill
to do
too.
some shakedown.
that means you have to get 3 bikes down.
Oh yeah, I might have to drive down this year.
It's such
year.
admin.
That is a lot of admin. It was hard enough taking 2
Do you
bikes
think
last
they're going to
year.
run the same course for the downhill? Surely, are they going to build another one?
I don't know. They've run the same.
Wasn't there a rumour?
They've run-
Wasn't there a rumour?
They've run the same course for the last 18 years, so I don't know if there's much hope in a new one.
It's a bit disappointing if they it's a pretty limiting track. I think we discussed it when we were talking about it afterwards. Like,
yeah,
it's
they
pretty
don't.
limiting.
I know they're trying to get more stuff built, but I just don't know how fast new stuff will get built, whether there'll be new stuff this summer or not. But I mean, that track is basically handlebar deep now because it's so established and beaten in.
That would be the ultimate in just fucking posting it in if they ran a World Cup on the one track they've had for the last 17 years or more. It's like, yeah, we'll run a World Cup on it, no worries. There's already a track there.
Yeah, it's good to go. It would be an insane World Cup on that track, though, because you would just have to be, like, millimetre perfect and wide open the whole way down. It'd be incredible to watch.
Would be. Yeah, I agree.
Or boring.
Yeah, that's true. Everyone would just be doing the same thing would be the only problem.
Good coverage, though. Just have a follow cam the entire way down. Red Dog's zip line. Just above the entire track.
It could just be,
Yeah.
zip line.
They'll have the drone out. They love the drone.
Oh, yeah. The FPV.
Oh, actually,
That thing's got to be pretty annoying when it's just buzzing along.
I'm waiting for it to hit someone.
Yeah.
can we talk about? Do you reckon the drone pilot has to have some sort of nutrition strategy, or is he on something to like keep focused for every run?
Maybe he's on those fighter pilot
Yeah,
pills.
like on Ritalin or something.
Maybe you need to send him your nutrition plan for fucker.
That's an endurance plan. He needs like a sprint plan, or is he just like mainlining Red Bull all day? Because it must be quite intense to be that focused.
He's a drone pilot. Almost definitely he's mainlining Red Bull. Because if he's not flying a drone, he's playing fucking Minecraft or something.
I don't know if Red Bull sponsors
My
of
kids
Minecraft.
love the Minecraft.
Yeah, I don't know if Minecraft is that intense.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Hey, is anyone surprised with Red Bull's continued involvement? They're still kind of everywhere, right?
I find their show that they do with Elliot and Rob and Emily Batty really interesting. It's almost like a sticking their middle finger up, like, hey, we're still going to put some coverage in on this race and we're going to make some really awesome post-race kind of analysis of it. But at the same time, surely they've got to be involved with, like, Discovery or ESO. It's on some level to be doing it.
Their stuff's all over it. Like, at the start gate, it's Red Bull
it.
logo.
I'm pretty sure it's still.
And at the finish, the Red Bull
That'll be a
fridge
original
is at the hot seat.
Because
No, it's not. It's been at every single one. I thought it was a regional thing when they were in Austria or wherever. But no. It was here on the weekend.
I did read something.
Weird, eh?
I think it might even been in the Vital forums about them still having involvement.
they're still like, at the end of the day, mountain biking as a category for them will still be worth a shitload, right? They'll be pumping a lot of money into it with athletes, and they'll be expecting to still be getting a lot of value from it in terms of coverage and everything else. So, like, it wouldn't make sense for them to just flat out cut their involvement with the biggest part of the sport. They would, presumably, you'd just be negotiating a new sponsorship agreement with UCI.
Yep, beyond my knowledge of marketing. So, I've I got no idea. Is anyone?
Must be worth something to them, though.
Yeah. Oh,
Hey, Moki, where'd you get that Vanzex?
I have no.
From Vanzex.
Vanzex.co.nz.
Oh, that's good.
I've had this. I have this one. I've had this T-shirt for so long. I actually was wearing it at work today, under a long sleeve dress shirt, and I was like, it got really hot, and I thought I can't really rock around at my day job in a Vanzex T-shirt, so I had to sweat it out with a long sleeve shirt over top. True story.
Tough day in the pharmacy.
Yeah, tough day.
Anyway.
Well, boys, unless anyone else has anything good, we should probably let the listeners go and stop punishing their ears with sweaty chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nothing. Nothing. No topics.
I don't
Going
have
once.
anything
we're good.
immediately,
Going twice.
but listeners can look forward to the Pivot Power Rankings next time we get online.
Oh, boy.
Just waiting
dear.
for a...
Oh boy.
You might be doing that one by
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, that might be taking it off the OTB network.
Well,
Nah, it's got to be done. Look, we've got to be...
Hey, actually, we
look,
We do have some exciting
all
news.
I'm saying is we sent an OIA and request, and we're just waiting to hear back. There's a few areas that we're going to just steer clear of.
Is there
that's a good.
is there
good
like
idea.
a line in the spreadsheet like contra, or is it all just cash?
Well, one of the things that you will find is pretty much everyone's in debt to Bernie, including Chris Kokalis. He owes the entire brand to Bernie. So, yeah, that's kind of the way it works.
Well, I'm waiting for this segment to get us cancelled, so we'll see how long we last. But on another note, speaking of getting cancelled, we're going to have some special reporting out of Leger this weekend. One Tom Bradshaw is going to be on.
Brad Cummins.
Brad Cummins is going to be on ground for us. So if anyone's got any special requests of people for him to interview, questions to ask anyone specifically, send them in and we will do our best to get our man on the ground around to see everyone. But otherwise, he has some plans for some content for us. So we might have posted this up on the socials too. But thank you, Tom Bradshaw, for your continuing media involvement. We couldn't lose you. So on that note, let's sign off for another week. Leger this weekend. I mean, Red Dog, you said you've got Jackson Blackstone for the win.
Yep.
Either
Jason Greenstone.
of
for the
you
win.
two got a prediction?
Lower. Sorry, but can't.
Loic?
Can't not.
Yeah. No. Leicester?
I think for Loic to go back to back
I'm
would
gonna
be possible here, and I think I'm going to go him as well.
I'm going Benoit.
Benny.
It's time. Benoit's going to be hungry after last week.
What about women's?
And I think we could probably just all agree. Are we all just choosing Valley?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I think that's where I'm at.
I'm just going to stick one out there and say
Fantastic
that,
stuff. Thanks again, boys.
I reckon Nina might pull it.
Oh.
There we go.
We've got a last minute. Oh, right.
You got a
There we go.
one?
Leicester's zigging when everyone else is
Just
eggs.
because I was bagging her up before.
Who did you
let's
call?
say something positive.
All right. Nina.
The only way that she'll win
This
is
is good.
if
Good of
Valley
you in case
crashes,
she
though,
listens.
which is entirely possible.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
No. So he just really doubles down on it.
Yeah, he doubles down.
Lester, I'm sorry, I missed your prediction. Who did you call? Nina.
Nina.
Nina Humperdinck.
Yeah.
Humpledink.
She's Jim.
Right.
Let's go.
An ex-ski racer, isn't she?
It's true.
Oh, God. We got to go.
Oh,
the
we've
ski
hit the quota
racing
of
chat.
ski racing.
Thanks for coming, everyone. We'll see you next week.
What's up? I come from the land of down under. I can't hear you. What was that? I can't hear you. I let it be like John Lennon, the anti-serum that you don't get for poisonous venom. Read the label carefully, I'm only here for the show. I love hip-hop too much to let you feed my ego. In the key of F-U-C-K, Y-O-U. I mean, why do I owe you if you're not helping me through? I mean, why do I owe you if you're obstructing my view? Success is not my castle, just a house that's brand new. You see, I irrigate the culture, give it shape like a sculpture. Still complicated, rock like I'm supposed to be. L-I-T-Z like my DJ. Rock to the rhythm like you rock to what he plays.